Hi, this is Paz from Pictures, Noise and Words, and today I'll be going through the studio discography of thrash metal gods in my opinion. Testament. Testament always been one of my favourite bands. Should they have been in the big four? I think they should, but I saw an interview with the guitar player Alex Skolnick, and he said he thinks they shouldn't have been because you already had Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer and Anthrax all released albums before their first album came out, so they're already kind of established, so it makes sense that the first four bands would be considered the big four, and difficult to argue against that. Saw them in March this year, just before the COVID-19 lockdown, and I remember coming out of the gig and saying to the two chaps I went with, I said, Testament are, because it was one of the best gigs I've been to, period, because it had Exodus and Death Angel on the bill as well, who were both amazing. The Testament have Gene Hoglan is one of the best drummers that metal has ever produced. Chuck Billy on vocals are one of the best metal singers the genre has ever produced. Alex Skolnick's one of the best guitar players that the genre has ever produced, and Eric Peterson's probably one of the best riff writers that the genre has ever produced. I mean, so and it was probably, I think it was Testament that it was the inspiration for doing these countdown videos. I thought they need a bit more exposure. I've not seen any countdown videos for Testament, so I thought, I'll do one myself, and then got to expand it into other bands, but I'll go. Seen them several times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, many times. I'm not one for memorabilia and stuff like that, but this little wristband here was Eric Peterson's guitar. He's right-handed. I think he threw it into the crowd. Muggins here caught it. It was a bit sweaty, but one of my prized possessions. Keeps me coming. That sounds a bit weird, that. Right, here we go. I'm going to start with my least favourite and go through to my favourite Testament album. This might be all over the place, and probably annoy some people, especially people who really like the early stuff. You can see where this is going to go. But this is just my opinion. You like what you like. What can you do? And to be honest, this is going to be a bit of a gush fest because I don't think Testament have done a bad album at all. It's just ones I prefer more than others. It's as simple as that. And it pains me to say that the bottom of the list is 97's Demonic, which I have, but I can't find it. So I'll have to put the thing up here. Sorry, the picture up there. I'm gutted I can't find it because you know what, I don't mind it at all. It's got some good songs in it. Demonic Refusal, Burning Times. Always like John Doe as well. This Demonic was recorded, and they're effectively a two-piece. It was just Chuck Billy and Eric Peterson, keeping the flame alive, as it were, trying to survive when grunge took over, etc. in the 90s. So they decided to produce what is effectively a death metal album. Chuck sounds great with his death metal growl, and some songs are alright. On the whole, I just don't find the songs very memorable. And even going back to it now, because I've got it digitally somewhere, the songs just tend to blend it all into one. So there's no great hooks that it's not because Chuck is growling all the time, because I like with death metal, you've got to have the riffs that keep you interested, and this probably is a little bit lacking, especially compared to the one that came after that. But I have to admit, I do prefer it when Chuck mixes up it a little bit. When he does the really deep growl, gruff stuff, and he does this, so he's barking, and then he does this clean stuff. I like when he mixes up a little bit more. And on this, he doesn't mix it up that much. I think You hear a bit of his clean stuff on John Doe, but the rest of it is all death metal growling, which sounds amazing. But just on a song for song basis, it has to go on the bottom of the list, although it pains me to do that. So next on the list is date on that, 1990s, Souls of Black, and I quite like it. So I think, why is it this low down? Facing the Sky, really good like that. Souls of Black's really classic Testament thrasher. The Legacy's really strong. Malpractice, I've always enjoyed that one. Again, it comes down to a song for song thing. I was never a huge fan of it after Practice What You Preach. This is one of the, because I love that. So coming on to this was a slight come down from that, and it probably hasn't lasted that well with me because of that. But even going back, I enjoy the highlights, and the rest of it does kind of wash over me a little bit, but I still really enjoy it, and it's still a solid effort from the boys. Next on my list, it's always an interesting theory that I have developed, is a lot of bands who, so obviously their early stuff is praised, and then they fall by the wayside because of musical changes and stuff like that, and they come back again, and they release consistently strong albums. For example, you could probably throw Exodus in there and Paradise Lost as well. All their new stuff's really fairly strong, and I think it's because they instead of being on a major label that probably don't know what to do with them, they join like Nuclear Blast, who know exactly what to do. And I think for me, Testament's modern era albums are really strong, and I think it's because of that. I think the record companies understand what the band want to do, and just go and do what you do best, because that's what sells. Don't go and try and change your sound. Don't try and get them to sound like what's the next big thing, or what Metallica doing. Copy that. None of that. They just go and sound like Testament. Give me the best Testament album you can. And I think even though this is fairly low down, Brother of the Snake, I really like Modern Day Testament. When's this from? When's the date? 2016. It's just a song for song thing, really. I think production on it is amazing. But like Brother of the Snake, strong. The Pale King, strong. Stronghold, strong. Neptune Spear, I've always enjoyed that one. Blackjack, not much wrong with it at all. I just find some of the other unmemorable. Really heavy, really fast. Back to the thrash roots. And here, really good. Recommended. Next on my list is the one that preceded that. Is me bigging up Modern Day Testament and putting this low down. But there's nothing wrong with this either. This is Dark Roots of Earth. In fact, I think on another day it might have jumped up a couple of places. It just shows you how strong Testament's discography actually is, and how much of a gushy fest this is going to be. Rise Up, Native Blood. In fact, when it's the last one tour they did, because when it's over in March, most of the material was taken off the last 4 albums, on the newest 4 albums, and some of the really early stuff, the mid stuff, I think they more or less ignored. A Day in the Death, Cold Embrace. It's the first album back with Gene Hoglan. Gene Hoglan, who drummed on Demonic, left it. I think he left and did he join Shopping Lad for a bit? Well, he came back to him for this one, and he's been part of the band ever since. What a drummer. What a strong album as well. Again, sounds amazing. All the band on fire on all cylinders. Again, I can't believe it's so low down. It just shows you how good Testament are. Say no weak albums here today. Next one is, and this is could have easily dropped down one, but I'll put it up because of the amount of time I invested in it, but it's not lasted that well. Otherwise, it would have gone a little bit higher. What's the date? I can't read it on here. I need some new glasses. 1994's Low. And I played this to death when I got it. First 5 songs especially. Low. What a great song that is. Legions in Hiding, Hail Mary, Full of Grace, Trail of Tears, Strong, Shades of War. Those are the first 5 songs. Can't go wrong with that. After that, Dog-Faced God's a good thrasher. Then it starts falling apart a little bit though. Say first half is a lot stronger than the second half. But I enjoyed this immensely when it came out. I loved the production on it as well. It's really tight sounding. This is the first album after they had some internal issues. I think a couple of people left. But at least the drummer left. I know that. Still sounds totally Testament though. But I think it was largely ignored because grunge had exploded, and even great bands of the 80s were struggling to find out where they fitted in. This was a good effort. Yeah, certainly the title track and Hail Mary are worth checking out if you've not heard anything from this. Next on my list, and a bit low down because I never had this as much investment in the debut album as some people, and production kind of puts me off a little bit, but still the songs are great. Over the Wall, Haunting, Burnt Offerings, COT, LOD, fantastic. First Strike is Deadly, fantastic. Do or Die, Apocalyptic. I mean, some great classic thrashers of any band on here. Production just, I remember back in the day, production kind of put me off a bit. And I think that did kind of hamper the thrash bands back in the day, because I don't think studios knew what to do with them. Because when you're playing that fast, you really need a tight drum sound, and a lot of bands didn't, especially if you didn't have the money. It sounded like you're bouncing a basketball on a sports court floor. That was the snare drum. It just ended up taking up over some really fuzzy, thin guitars, and this kind of is a good example of that. It takes a while for the songs to get to come across. However, having said that, it did give you the thrash that sort of do-it-yourself, sort of really raw sounding feel, and that's what thrash. It's got a charm because of that, and as good as some of the later thrash albums are, sometimes they can be a bit too sanitized because its production is too clean. I don't know. Interesting debate. I like both, to be honest. But this one, yeah, just needed a bit heavy guitar, less drums. I probably would be. I loved it, but still, if I'm putting this low down, I told you it'd be all over the place. Right, next. Top 6 in 6 spots. Now, this beats The Legacy for one main reason, and that reason is The Secret of Monkey Island Part 2. Specifically, the format pieces, because I played The Secret of Monkey Island 2 to death. To that. And every time I stick it onto the Ritual from 92, it always takes me back to the good times of sat in my room trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. And I think the songs are good. I think the songs are still there, even though they sort of toned down the thrash era, and the production is quite dry and not as heavy. I think it might have been Atlantic going, oh, what, Metallica are just going really famous, do that. So I think they tried to do it. So all the thrash has been taken out of it. All the songs are sort of mid to slow tempo. But I still, you can't put a good song down, in my opinion. Electric Crown's a good rocker. So Many Lies, really great. Let Go of My World. It's a good up-tempo rocker. Ritual's really good. Deadline, oh yeah. All these songs are coming back to me now. And even the brilliant Return to Serenity, sort of pseudo ballad at the end. Sometimes you just want it to go. It's like being let off the leash and go crazy and thrashy at some points, but they don't. It's all a bit restrained. But I still really like it because it was a soundtrack to The Secret Monkey Island Part 2. And that's why I love it so much. And holds a place in my heart as the Ritual. And I still enjoy it now, actually. I still enjoy it to this day. Next on my list, was this like low down? Okay. Into the top 5. And that is the latest one from 2020, out, is it in January or something? No, March time. I think this is great. It might be a bit long. It's got 12 songs. I think you've already cut 2 off. But Children of the Next Level, World War 3, Dream Deceiver, that's a great song. Night of the Witch, brilliant song. Symptoms, False Prophet, really strong album. And again, it's a bit like Queensryche, which has just recently done. The new stuff, yeah, it's so great just to hear the new stuff. Because for me, just as strong as everything else in their discography, or to the point where it's almost as strong as some of the early stuff. The only difference is I've not got 35 years of investment in it. Maybe in 35 years' time, I would be thinking, this is just as good as Practice What You Preach or whatever. And that's what people forget when they're thinking about a band's new stuff. You know, they haven't got. There's no history to it yet. But if they put this out instead of New Order, would we be heralding this as the blueprint? I don't know. Interesting thing to think about. Sounds $1 million. Very heavy, very fast, thrashy album. And I think Nuclear Blast just letting Testament get on with doing what Testament do best. Great performances from everyone. Yeah, if you've not picked up the latest one, it's a good place to jump in actually. This one, the latest one, can't go wrong. Which leads me into the top 4. And it was their comeback album from 2008, The Formation of Damnation. I played this a lot. I mean, when we say a lot, I mean a lot. More than meets the eye. What a great, yeah. Because they'd been away for 8-9 years because of I think Chuck Billy's illness. So I'd kind of given up on it really after last one. Before that was 1999. So yeah, 9-year wait to get, and they announced reunion shows, I think, and they ended up doing a reunion album. So Alex Skolnick has come back. Who else came back? Guitar players. Anyway. This got Paul Bostoff on, so the drummer didn't come back. And what a comeback this was. It's absolutely fantastic. This is like a comeback of Exodus's Temple of the Damned. That was an amazing comeback, and Queensryche's comeback was amazing. This is on the same level. All the songs are really, really strong. Especially this one at the end called Fear. Absolutely love that. It's thrashy, it's heavy. The Formation of Damnation, what a great song that is. The Persecuted won't forget. Henchman Ride, Killing Season, Afterlife. Another great point, jumping on point for Testament. If you don't know a Testament, and you want something that's better produced than some of the mid 80s stuff, say these two I would recommend. The latest one and Formation of Damnation. Only the last 4 really, but these two especially I thought particularly strong. What a great album. It's bringing out great memories now. Listen to that on the first night, thinking yes, Testament, thank you, they're back. Right, next, 3rd spot, 88, the New Order. I mean, we are currently in the cream of the crop here. Last 1, 2, 3, 4. Say it's a bit of a gush fest. Eerie Inhabitants, New Order, Trial by Fire, Into the Pit. In fact, Trial by Fire. Let's go back to that. Everyone sort of heralds, Disciples of the Watch and the Preacher and the New Order, Into the Pit. They always get played live. But if it wasn't for Trial by Fire, probably my love affair with Testament probably would have never happened, because I remember seeing Trial by Fire on the telly, Noisy Mothers or whatever, Raw Power, whatever it was, Power Hour, and this came on because I heard Testament before this point. Trial by Fire comes on, made the video, great start, and it just kicks in. Kicks in. I thought at the end, that's an amazing song, and that was it. Been sold ever since. What a great album this is. Second album for all those great thrash anthems, I would say. In fact, it's only after the Preacher, song number 8, Nobody's Fault, and A Day of Reckoning, that it starts to that sort of I drift off with a musical dirge at the end. It's all right, but up to and including the Preacher, it's all really strong stuff. Great performances from the guy. Again, production slightly better than their debut. Very raw. Could have done with spending an extra $1,000 on it. But it gives it character, I think. That's one thing. And say the songs will out. You got good songs, they will out almost every time. Currently on Megaforce worldwide on this one. Yeah, top album. And still play songs in it today from that. Right, second spot is the one that came after that. 89's Practice What You Preach. This really was the album to listen to when it came out. I don't think there's any weak moments on here. Oh yes, there is one. I'll get to that in a sec. Practice What You Preach, which has one of my favourite solos in period of all time. Technically good, but it's just the way it's constructed. The key changes it does, and the pace. It doesn't change pace really, but all the key changes that it goes through, and the way it's put together, and the way it's played, it's just orgasmic. But I'll put it that way. Perilous Nation, fantastic. Envy Life, Time Is Coming, Blessed in Contempt's really good, and then Greenhouse Effect. Never liked that song. And they made a video of that. Terrible song. Sins of Omission, then Pick It Up, and then the ballad, which is rare for them at the time. That was a really good song. Nightmare Coming Back to You was a 2-minute thrashathon. All apart from Greenhouse Effect, I like all of this, with some really memorable moments and highlights on here. What a highlights reel this album has got, and really quite different production as well. It seems a lot tidier than this, because there's one that came before it, but still gave Testament that sort of its own identity. They didn't sound like everybody else. But you can argue they started slowing down a little bit. There wasn't as much thrash influences, but again, they made a slight change in their songwriting. They didn't alienate you. In fact, it drew more people in. But yeah, good starting off point. If you want some early Testament, these two would be good. If not, say production's not not something you're bothered about, pick up these two. So my number one is 1999's The Gathering. Now, it could have been very easy to put Practice What You Preach or New Order on here, but I had to go with what album probably of Testaments affected me the most, and which album do I still play today, and which album hasn't got a weak moment on it, and it's this one. I mean, it's just this. The one before it was Demonic, which is mainly a death metal album. This was like a halfway house between Demonic and say thrashes this of practice what you preach. See, you've got Chuck Billy doing his death metal growls. On top of that, you've got his clean stuff as well, perfectly meshed into this absolutely brutal thrash metal album. DNR, still play that to this day. Legions of the Dead, Down for Life, what a brilliant song that is. And my favourite on here is Sewn Shut Eyes, which, you know, it's just all growling, but what a great riff and on that. And whereas for me, Demonic wasn't as memorable in the songs, which is why it's the bottom of the list. It's the top of the list because all the songs for me are memorable. All the ideas are just absolutely wonderful. The riffs are great, and this is the only album they did with oh god, what's his name? Brain's gone. Always does when you're recording this. The guy was in Slayer. What's his name? Dave Lombardo. That's it. And you can tell when a drummer's got flair, he brings so much to the table, and it felt like that with this. The drums are great. The production on the drums is astounding. I've not really heard much that's better than that since this. This is from 1999, so 20 years old. Guitars are really tight and heavy, and Chuck Billy sounding really sinister. So utilising every aspect of his talent as well. It's if you've not got it, get that, because it's heavy, it's thrashy, uncompromising. Because they had nothing else to prove it. They're just putting out the best thing they can, or could at the time, and still resonates with me to this day. So there you have it. Yeah, what a gush fest that was. In fact, I'll go and play some of this right now. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll probably see you next Monday. See you now.